Welcome to episode 35 in this chess puzzle adventure series starring Bobby Fischerman, Average Joe, and Peter Potzer. Previously, several episodes back, Bobby Fischerman had lost 90% of his rating, going from 2,800 down to a mere 280 after eating the blue apple. Unsure of what to do next, he started aimlessly wandering around, kind of in a northward direction, but he didn't really know where he was going. Shortly after he began wandering around, he ran into a hermit. He said, "Hey there, how's it going?" The hermit said, "I'm doing well. I actually just found this golden key, but I don't really have any use for it. Would you like it?" Bobby Fischerman said, "Yeah, that would be great. Thanks." The hermit said, "Wait a second. Before I give it to you, you have to solve a chess puzzle." Bobby said, "Okay," but he wasn't feeling very confident with his new rating of 280. Nevertheless, the hermit presented to Bobby Fischerman the following position. So here's the position. It's white to play and win. There's only one winning move. What do you think it is? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, so the first thing that's kind of weird about this position is there's a lot happening. There's pieces kind of scattered all over the place. Black has the queen, which makes it look like black should have the advantage. On top of that, there's this pawn, which is starting to push down the board. However, white does have this lone e-pawn. And so the only winning move in this position is e7, which kind of makes sense. You're trying to push it to e8 to get a queen. It's defended by the rook. Looks like it might be difficult for black to stop that. However, black simply plays the move queen to a3 check and skewers your pawn. If you would like to pause, what do you think you should play next? If you had a chance to look at that, the only way to save the pawn is to play rook to b4 and block the check that way. But for those of you paying attention, will notice that queen to a7 is a fork and again attacks the pawn. If you'd like to pause, what should white play next? Well, if you had a chance to do that, the only winning move for white is king takes c4, essentially abandoning the pawn on e7. Now, for those of you who said king to d6, trying to hold on, there's a big problem with this, and it's that black's going to simply capture the knight with check. And when you recapture, your bishop is now undefended. They're going to take the bishop. And let's just say you try to keep moving forward to support the pawn. Then there's going to be queen to c5 check. And everything is falling apart for you. Yes, you can go here. Black can simply capture the rook. And even though you get the queen, there's this follow-up skewer. You have to trade. And this pawn is going to win it for black. So that doesn't work. So you have to abandon the pawn and change your strategy from... here we go. Change your strategy from trying to promote the queen to getting checkmate on black's king. But the question is, from this position, how in the world do you get checkmate? White to play and win. If you had a chance to do that, this is an incredible position, and there's a series of sacrifices here which blew my mind when I first saw them. So the first move here is knight takes g6 check, forking the king and queen, which forces black to capture your knight. Okay, so they take the knight. What do you think you should play next? If you had a chance to look at that, the next move is again another sacrifice, bishop to f6 check, which is a fork. And when you first look at this, it's like, Nelson, what are we doing? We're just giving away all of our pieces. Why? Well, it's actually very, very important that we do this. Here's why. The follow-up move, king to d5 check, unleashes the rook. And if you look carefully, the king doesn't have a lot of places to go. You can't come down here. You can't go there. You either run this way or you block with the bishop. The problem with blocking with the bishop is, of course, the rook can simply take, get the fork, trade this off, and this is going to be a winning endgame for white because of the extra pawn. Okay, so black says, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to run to g5. And now how does white finish off the game with a beautiful checkmate? If you had a chance to do that, the move is h4 check, which forces the king over to f5. Then you follow it up with g4 check, which is again sacrificing another piece. And then from here, it's mate in 2. How does white win the game in 2 moves? If you had a chance to do that, rook to f4 check is the move, forces the bishop to capture, and then e4 checkmate after you literally gave up all of your pieces. Let's just recap that for a second. Sacrifice the knight, sacrifice the bishop, sacrifice the pawn, sacrifice the rook, and notice how all of those sacrifices were lowering pieces around black's king in a particular way so that you could deliver the checkmate. Fascinating stuff. Absolutely incredible position. Hope you enjoyed that, and congratulations if anybody actually saw that. All right, let's go back to the beginning and see how Bobby Fischerman approached this position. So Bobby Fischerman said, okay, let me think. There's got to be some chess knowledge in my brain somewhere. What's something that I've heard in the past? Ah, yes, passed pawns must be pushed. I'm going to start by pushing my pawn. And then after queen to a3 check, he said, well, I don't like checks. I don't want my king to get captured. I better block that. Let me play rook to b4. And then after the check here, Bobby said, well, let me look around. Aha, I can take a pawn. It's always good to capture pawns in chess if you can. I'm going to take it. And then after this move, he was looking and he was looking and he was like, let me see if I could find a fork, because I remember somebody saying forks are really powerful moves. Aha, knight takes g6. And he didn't notice the pawn, but he did see the fork. And then after this, he kept looking and he noticed another fork. He's like, let's just play it. Didn't realize that the bishop could just be captured. He played it anyway. And then here he was like, well, I don't really know what to do. Let me just move my king. And oh, look at that. It puts the king in check. And after king here, he said, well, I'm just going to keep attacking the king at all costs. If it works out, it works out. If not, it doesn't. I don't really know what else to do. Let me just find a check. There's a check. Let me just keep looking for checks. Here's another check. Let me just keep looking for checks. There's another. Okay, and let me just keep up. There's another. Oh, that's checkmate. And somehow, by some miracle, he successfully solved the puzzle, and the Hermit gave Bobby Fischerman the golden key. Bobby Fischerman said, now you wouldn't happen to know what this key is for, would you? The Hermit said, I have no idea, but what I can tell you is if you go to the Lost Ruins, there's an archaeologist there who can probably help you out. I would recommend checking with him. Bobby said, thank you very much. And with that, he headed north towards the Lost Ruins. And that's where we'll pick up the story next time. Thank you guys for watching, and happy adventures on the chessboard.